Welcome to Yoga with Megan. Today I'm going to do some of my favorite postures that I do as a maintenance program for my sacrum. And Bodhi's here helping me today. But you're going to need some props for this, so you will need a block if you have one available. A strap, and the strap should be the type of strap that you can close that cinches. Okay? And also, go raid your closet and see if you can find some sort of dowel rod. If it's a little bit thicker or thinner, that's okay. But raid your closet for a dowel rod. Okay. We're gonna start today down on the floor. Take your back down, and you're welcome to move around. I would say move like your favorite animal. You can roll around a little bit, almost like you're massaging your sacrum into the floor, and letting it roll. So the first thing we do is we're going to take our feet to the floor in constructive rest. So that's the posture where I just stack my knee over my hip and my ankle straight off my knee and let the legs drop. So nice alignment from hip to knee and knee to ankle. Let your back and spine settle in, the shoulder blades, and just feel the space around your pelvis, all 360 degrees. And I like to bring the breath in. You can notice your movement through your abdomen, particularly the low abdomen within the pelvic area. Notice how the pelvis will stretch the front of the pelvis as you breathe in. And as you exhale, there's this coming back together of the front hip bones. And then on the back side, imagine the space in and around the sacrum expanding as you're breathing in, and gently relaxing into the floor as you breathe out. Okay. So the first thing we're going to use is the dowel rod. Oops, that's a little loud. We're going to take the dowel rod, and you're going to lift up. We'll start with the left leg. Take your left leg and put the dowel rod to the back of the left leg. You're going to hold it with both hands, and then bring the right leg up. Try to stack your knees so they're about right over the front of your hip sockets. This is very simple. You won't really see it, but here's what I'm doing. I'm going to press both legs into the dowel rod. So the left leg is pressing forward and the right thigh back. And what I start to notice is some lengthening through the left side of my low back, particularly around my sacrum, and then a shortening or a tightening through the right side. And for me, my left side of the sacrum is higher, and that's where I hold tension, so this feels really good. And I typically would just do this side, okay? And if you can figure out where you hold your tension or where your back is generally tight, you would want that to be the leg that's closest to you, to your belly that you're pressing away. But just in case, I'm gonna go ahead and release, and we'll switch sides. Take that same dowel rod now, the back of the right leg is in the dowel rod, and the front of the left thigh, and same thing, I'm gonna press. And I can tell, I can sense that as I'm doing this now, it feels like the left hip is drawing up towards my shoulders and the right hip away. And there's for me, this feels like a tightening through the left side, which I prefer to release the left side. So you might even be able to sense that in your own body. If not, do both sides. All right? And then I'm going to release that down. We'll set that rod to the side. All right. The next thing we're going to do is take a strap. So we'll get all of our propage in first. Take the strap and put it around the thighs. And you're going to put it, again, so you're in constructive rest. So your knees should be the center of the knee, straight off these are your ASIS points, the front of your hips, and they should run right through the center of your knees, and your ankles are right underneath the knees. So I want to feel that space. I need to tighten mine just a little bit. And all I'm doing here is I'm going to connect with my feet into the earth, gently press my heels and the balls of the feet into the floor, and then press my outer thighs into the strap on inhale and release on exhale. So it feels as if I'm trying to burst the strap on the inhale and release it on the exhale. And as I'm inhaling, I feel that space in my low back spread out and relax, particularly around the sacrum, and I'll feel my outer hips engage, and then exhale and release. And I'm just going to do just this a couple of times. Inhale and exhale. Sense my feet on the floor as well. And then with the feet on the floor, once I find that action of feet pressing down and outer thighs engaging and that spread in the low back, I'll add a bridge pose. So I'm going to tuck my shoulders slightly underneath me. Press the backs of the hands in the floor, back of the neck is long. Press the feet into the floor, so initiate from the feet. Press the thighs into the strap, and then inhale and lift up, just as high as you can go. And exhale, come all the way down, relax completely. Make sure you relax. Inhale, press and lift. And exhale, come down. And try to find a breath count that's even. So I like to do at least a 4-count breath. That's a great place to begin. So we're gonna come up, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, and come down, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Sense that complete relaxation at the bottom. And then on the top, at the top of the 4-count, you'll notice how strong and engaged your muscles are. Yeah, just taking your time exploring the activity and then release of the muscles. Up and down, and just coming as high as you need to feel that. And we'll do one more here. I tend to take it into a hold on my last one. So I'm still pressing the balls of the feet and the heels into the floor. Watch your toes don't lift up. I'm trying to burst the strap with my outer thighs, feeling those outer hips. I can press my arms into the floor slightly so I feel the weight resting onto my upper shoulders as opposed to on the head and neck. And breathing. And watch that when you come down, we don't crash down. Nice, slow, sensitive release on the way down. Nice. And then with that strap still on, just open it up a little bit more to where you feel like you have space in the inner thighs. Keep that pressure on the strap and imagine doing windshield wipers, but still pressing the outer thighs into the strap. And just gently, you won't be able to go all the way over, but rock from the pinky toe to the big toe side of one foot and the other while keeping that outer thigh pressure on the strap. Should feel nice for your low back. If for any reason any of this aggravates it, just stop. You gotta listen to your body. And then back to the center. All right. I'm going to take that. So we're going to bring the strap is off, and now we're going to bring the block in. And I'm going to put the block, I usually do this second, so there's small, medium, and large. This will be large size, this will be small. I'm usually a medium. I'm going to put it between the thighs so that my knees are still in line with those front of the hip points. And now I'm going to do just the opposite of what I did with the strap. I'm going to squeeze the inner thighs on inhale. So I'm hugging the block with the inner thighs, and exhale, gentle release. Remember to initiate from your feet as well. Press the feet into the floor, squeeze the block, and release the block. And just having that sensitivity of feeling your inner thighs engage, and then release. And watch that it's not right on your knee joints. Find a comfortable spot on the side of the thighs. Squeezing, releasing. So find the action with the pelvis still on the floor first. And then once you find that action, you can take those arm bones and tuck them underneath you a little bit, back to the hands to the floor. We'll do the bridge once again. So this time I'm pressing my heels and the balls of my feet into the floor to initiate the action, hugging the block with my inner thighs, lifting up just as high as I can go comfortably, no need to push it. And then exhale, release down, feel the back, relax, the weight of the spine releases into the floor. Hug and strongly lift. So inner thighs activating, exhale, release back down. So once you find the movement, try to time it to that 4-count breath. So you're going the same pace up and down. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. You're at your highest height. Come back down. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Completely relaxed. And coming up again. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Feel all that strength. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Completely release. You can do a few more rounds, keeping that breath balanced on the inhale and the exhale. Do one more for good measure. Hug the block, press the feet, especially the big toe side of the feet into the floor, and lift up. And release back down. All right, before we release this one, you're gonna take the block and turn it to the widest width. Once again, hugging in, just like we did with the strap. Just want you to try your best. It's hard to windshield wiper with this in here, but hug those inner thighs and let your thighs move side to side like windshield wipers. Yeah, and just feel your feet rolling from big toe to little toe side while hugging that block. All right, and then you're gonna relax that. Take the block out. You may find that it feels good to take a full body stretch after having your knees bent that whole time. I like that. I can even arch my back off the floor. Oh, exhale, let it all go. And then while the legs are long, you're gonna take your legs slightly wide and your hands out to your sides. Think of making the shape of a human X. And let everything relax, shake out your legs. Just notice the position of your spine and then your arms and legs, so your limbs coming off the spine. So when we balance ourselves from what we call our core, we actually balance left to right. So for instance, left shoulder to right hip, and the opposite, right hip left hip to right shoulder. So we're gonna do a little movement that'll help to bring that in. You're gonna bring your awareness into your right foot first. You can turn your toes and your kneecaps slightly up. Just press that foot forward like you're pressing on a gas pedal. You'll feel the hip slide towards the front of your mat. And then exhale and release it. Then bring your awareness into your left hand. Reach that left hand up overhead. You'll feel your left side body get long. And exhale, release. Bring the awareness into the left foot. Point your toes and your knee up. Press through that leg. This side feels really good for me to lengthen my sacrum. I'll feel my back side slightly arch off the floor on the left, and then exhale, release it. Awareness into the right hand. I'm gonna reach that right arm up overhead. So we're going opposite directions with the hands and legs, one at a time, and then exhale, release. So we're gonna go around that way. I'll cue you one limb at a time. Try to keep the other limbs relaxed. Awareness in the right leg and foot. As you inhale, press through the heel. Draw the hip towards the front of the mat. Feel that back arch. Then exhale, release completely. Awareness into the left hand and arm. Inhale, reach the left hand and arm up overhead. Exhale, relax. Left leg, toes point up, kneecap up. Inhale, press through that leg. Exhale, release. Right hand. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, release. One more time around. Right foot, press through the heel. Feel your pelvis gently draw on the right side towards the front of the mat. Exhale, release. Left hand, reach overhead. Exhale, let it go. Left foot, press through the heel. Feel that left hip lengthen, right hip lift. Exhale, release. And right hand. Inhale, reach it up overhead. Side body lengthens, space in the rib cage. Exhale, relax. All right, we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna double up on arm and leg and think of a cross of an X. And this is what we call somatic. So we're really not looking to stretch or even certainly not strengthen. We're just waking up the muscles, waking up your connection of the nervous system to the muscles. So now I'm going to inhale and press through my right foot, reach through my left leg, opposite directions. Feel my back arch on both sides, upper back on the left, lower back on the right. And exhale, release that. Inhale, press through the left heel, reach the right hand, upper right back, arches, lower left back. Exhale, let go. Think of the shoulders and the hip girdles going in the opposite direction. Inhale, right foot, left leg. Exhale, let go. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale, release. One more time. Right foot, left arm, opposite directions, reach. Try to keep the other side relaxed. Let it go. And then left foot, right arm, reach. And let go. relax completely. Shake out the legs if you'd like. So after being long like this, I like to bring my legs in, hug them in, roll around on the sacrum again. Okay. Going back into the constructive rest pose, these are what I call the planes of the pelvis, the movements that our pelvis makes when we walk. So the first one is our lifting of the hips. So when we walk, one hip will twist at a time. So I'll start with the right side so you can see. If I place my hand on my right hip, I'm going to think as I inhale, I'm going to lift the buttocks and the hip off the floor, press my shin slightly forward, but I'm moving from my hip, and exhale, relax down. I'm going to do just that right side first. Inhale, lift the right hip, press the shin bone forward. So it should feel good. Feel those muscles engage, and then let it fall back into the earth. One more time, just the right side. Inhale, lift the hip, press the shin forward, keep that left side relaxed. Exhale, let it come down. All right, left side, and sometimes you'll find one side will move easier than the other. I feel my left side now. I'm going to inhale and lift my left hip off the floor, press the shin bone slightly forward, but the movement is initiating from my hip, right? Exhale, release back down. Inhale, left hip lifts. I can feel the muscles tighten around the hip and the buttocks as I press my shin forward, feel my foot on the floor. Exhale, relax down. One more time, just the left hip. Inhale, lift it up, press the shin bone slightly forward. Exhale, relax back down. Now we'll do alternate, so double time. We'll do one and then the other. Inhale, right hip up, press the shin bone forward. Feel that little rotation of the pelvis. Exhale, relax it back down. Inhale, left hip, lift the hip, press the shin bone slightly forward. So you feel weight will roll onto your right hip, left hip lifts. Exhale, release, just the opposite. Inhale, lift the right hip, feel the weight go into the left hip. Exhale, release, and just sort of rolling. Feel like you're rolling one hip off the floor. There's no force. Roll it up, and then roll it down. We'll do one more round. Roll the right hip up on inhale. Release it back down. And then roll the left hip up. Release it back down. Take any movements you need to, maybe just windshield wipers in between. I love that one too. And we're doing all this pelvic movement and stability. So we're just trying to wake up some of those muscles. The first thing we did is stabilize more. Now we're waking up some muscles around the pelvis. The next one we do, I'll be lifting one hip at a time. So I'm going to leave my right foot on the floor so you can see that, and I'm going to extend my left leg long. So my hand will come to my right hip. Imagine that right hip as if I had a string. So I'm not going to lift my hip off the floor this time. I'm going to slide it towards my armpit on inhale, and this feels really good because again, that left side is my tight side, so I'm lengthening my left side and tightening my right side. I feel contraction through my right side, and then I'm going to exhale, release it. Inhale, draw that right hip up. Feel the stretch through my left lower back in the hip, even through the front of the hip. Exhale, release. And inhale, draw it up. And you may not see or feel as much movement in yourself. I am quite hypermobile in this area. That's why I have these issues in the first place. So I'm really trying to go easy. And I'll just do one more on that right side. And I do like to hold this one as well, so I'm going to draw that hip up because it feels good to stretch my left side. I'll take my left arm overhead to get even more stretching through my left side. If I want to add a little more contraction, I can reach my right arm a few times, just kind of reach the right arm towards the front of the mat, towards my right foot. So I feel contraction through the right side and space through the left side. Holding for just a few breaths. And then let it all go. Let your pelvis slide back to center. Take the feet back. Sometimes when we do these, you'll notice a difference in the two sides. So that's my favorite side to do. When my back is bothering me, I won't do the other side. I just do the side that I need to lengthen, which is my left side. But for today, we'll do both, so you can extend your right leg. You can shake it out. That one gets to be on holiday and relax. Feel that left hip point, and we're not lifting the hip, but on inhalation, I'm sliding the hip towards my armpit. Feel the ribs shorten and tighten, the side of the body, and then exhale, relax. Inhale, use those muscles to slide the hip towards your armpit, and now I'm feeling that lengthening through my right side as well. And exhaling and releasing. Inhale, draw the hip up. Exhale, release. And there's this natural flow. The hip, you gotta effort, it's the effort to pull it up, and then it'll just release and slide back to where it needs to be. Do one more on this side. And if you're doing a hold, you can draw that left hip up. If you want to add more stretching for the right side, you can take your right arm up overhead. You could also reach your left fingertips towards the left ankle. So for me, it kind of cramps me to hold this side tight because that's already my tight side. But you're welcome to hold it a little bit longer. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to let go for myself. All right. And then let go. Feet to the floor. Last one of the movements of the pelvis. So this is when we walk, we have an anterior and posterior tilt to our pelvis, so it goes forward and back. So far we've had the rotation, and then we had the one hip lifts as the other drops. Now we're doing that tilt. So once again, it's good to use your hands. You can place them right on your hip points. As you inhale, you're gonna feel like you're lifting the low back and lower ribs off the floor, and the weight will go into the tailbone. As you exhale, feel that weight transfer into the sacrum, the lower part of the sacrum, and then all the way into the lumbar spine as you lift the tailbone, just slightly. Inhale, weight will go from the lumbar spine, the low back, through the sacrum and onto the tailbone as you lift your low back and lower ribs. So you can see I have a space underneath there on inhale. On exhalation, I'm letting the low back and lower ribs relax and just lifting the tailbone slightly away from the floor on the exhalation. So what we start to sense is the inhalation, the front of the pelvis is expansive, the belly is expanded. On the exhalation, the front of the pelvis is contracted, and I want to start to sense those abdominal muscles drawing in, the lower abdominal muscles. On the flip side, on the inhalation, the low back is contracted. There's a shortness or an arch in the low back. On the exhalation, the low back relaxes. Yeah, the low back relaxes. Notice that. So what I try to focus on to help myself with my sacrum, and so much of what we do is focus, is on the exhalation. I want to feel that strong front side through my lower abdominal muscles and that relaxation in the low back. So my inhale is just a nice gentle tilt, stretching the belly, but I'm focusing on the exhalation and drawing in. And we're going to add to that a little bit. We're going to take our hands behind us, so this is where we get a little bit more into strengthening, but it goes along with the pelvic tilting. You're going to take your head into your hands, and that same pelvic tilt, but we're going to add an arch for the upper back. So as you inhale, think of pressing your elbows and your backs of your arms into the floor as you tilt onto your tailbone. So you'll feel your back arch away from the floor, belly stretching, backside is contracted. As you exhale, release down, hug your elbows towards your ears, and then just lift up ever so slightly, tailbone and shoulders. And feel those lower abdominal muscles. So we're bracing all of these muscles in the front body. Inhale, press the elbows down, arch the back, so your weight's resting on your tailbones and tailbone on top of the shoulders. As you exhale, weight is in the center of the spine. And again, I like to focus on, I feel my inhale and the stretch of the belly, but I'm feeling on the exhale, my low back relax and my front body contract and support. So the front of the core is supporting the back body in relaxation. And you can flow through these, inhaling and exhaling and inhaling and exhaling. All right, relaxing down. If you want, you can swing your legs around a little bit, do some, I like those beautiful movements of the windshield wipers. All right, and back to the center, hug your legs in if you'd like to. We're gonna get ready to switch positions. So I'm gonna have you flip over onto your front side. That gets you relaxed. And just take opposite hand to elbow into crocodile pose, draw your elbows in just for a moment, rest your forehead on your top arm. So I'm going to speak to you, but rest your forehead and then shift your hips and your pelvis side to side. Roll your thighs, the tops of the thighs on the floor so you find space and comfort in your low back. You want to try to get the tops of the feet to the floor, so you want to watch that your heels aren't dropping way out to the edges. So think the whole top of the foot on the floor. And then you're going to slide that left elbow out to the side. You're going to rest your right cheek on the back of your left hand, and your right arm is going to go down at your side. Usually back of the hand to the floor is most comfortable. So you want to let the right arm completely relax. So this is another one of the movements we do for cross pattern to wake up that balance that comes from left to right and right to left through our core. So you're going to start by bringing the awareness into the left elbow and hand. And on inhalation, you're going to lift just the elbow up. Can't see me, but you're going to lift just the elbow up. And then exhale and come back down. So sense that the movement is coming from your upper back on the left side. You're going to inhale, lift the elbow. And exhale, relax back down. Just the elbow. Hand stays on the floor. We can just do 3 of those. Maybe 4. Did I do 4? I'm not sure. And then let it come down. And keeping your gaze point in the same direction. This time you're going to leave the hand and the forearm on the floor. And inhale and lift just the head up. And exhale, take it down. I'm so used to doing this with my eyes shut because then I have more awareness. So it's not that I'm counting you out, but you can close your eyes. Inhale, lift up on the inhale, and exhale, come down and sense the muscles in the neck, but still in that upper left shoulder. So much of it is sensing those muscles. Turning on as you lift up, and relaxing as you come down. We'll do one more with just the neck. And releasing back down. Okay, so now we're going to put that together. You're going to imagine that your cheek is glued onto the back of your hand, and you're going to lift the elbow, the forearm, and the head as one unit. Think of lifting from the elbow and the shoulder blade on the left side and the back of the neck. So on inhalation, I'm going to lift up just as high as I can go comfortably, and exhale, release down. So you may want to notice is, do you feel anything happening in the low back or in either of your buttocks cheeks? So for me, this side happens instantly. It's fantastic. I feel the right side of my buttocks and my low back tighten as I'm lifting my left arm, because that's the way my core is balancing me from left shoulder to right hip. But if you don't feel that, what you can do is, as you're lifting up, squeeze the muscles in the right butt cheek. Keep that left leg relaxed. We joke in class about saying that we have confused butt cheeks. So if your butt cheeks are confused, try to squeeze just the right one as you come up. And last one. So if they are confused, we'll see if we can fix that. You're going to relax your head, bring all the awareness into just the right leg. Left leg still on holiday, right arm is on holiday. Feel the space from the toes to the hip and lengthen from the toes to the hip, and then inhale, lift that leg up. So it's important that we lengthen first and don't bend the knee, because you want to feel your hamstrings and your glutes engage in that right leg. And exhale, let it come down and relax, and do just the leg a few times. Inhale, leg up, reach the toes, lift the thigh away. So here's another thing we want to be careful of, is that we're not letting the heel spin in and the toes out. You want to think of lifting the leg from your inner thigh. Exhale, come back down, relax. One more time with just the right leg. Lift it up and take it down. Shake it out a little bit before we put it all together. So now we're going to let that left shoulder communicate with the right hip, just the way it's supposed to be. So you can inhale, lift your left elbow, forearm, and head, and your right leg at the same time. Just coming up as high as you can without straining. Inhale, lift up. So remember, this is communication of the nervous system. That's all we're looking to do. Exhale, come back down, relax completely. Inhale is the effort. Lift up. Exhale, relax. And see if you can notice where that changes from the left shoulder and down through the spine to where you start to feel it in the right side of the body. So just stay present in your body. I'll do one more. Lifting up. And exhaling down. Relax completely because I need to switch my position. Let's see if you guys would like to do a child's pose in between. If that feels good, you can take your knees either together or wide leg child's pose. And just take a little counter pose, round your spine, relax the forehead. Notice any difference in the two sides while you take a few breaths in the child's pose as I reposition myself. And take that child's pose with you. And take your awareness right into the sacrum. Think of that triangular bone. Breathe into it. Feel all the space in and around it. And we'll slide out onto our belly to do the second side. So I can come into my crocodile pose again first, just to shift the hips side to side, find out how wide I want my legs apart. And then I'm going to slide the left arm to my side this time, place my right cheek on the back of the left hand, so I'm looking out at my left elbow. Take a moment to just let the cheek relax into the hand. Let the fronts of the thighs release into the floor, tops of the feet into the floor. And then visualizing my upper right back and elbow. I'll inhale and lift just the elbow up. And exhale back down. So I want to feel the muscles in that upper right back side now. Inhale, lift up. And exhale down. Inhaling up. And exhale, release. Think of the inhale as the effort. The exhale, the surrender. All right, now we're going to do just our head. So the forearm and the hand will stay on the floor. Think of using the muscles in the neck. Inhale, lift up, keep your gaze in that same direction. Exhale, come back down. Soften the cheek onto the hand. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Let's do one more with just the head. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Keep the cheek on the hand. You're going to do that forearm, the head, all together. So the cheek is stuck on the back of the hand. Inhale, lift up. And exhale down. So this side doesn't turn on right away for me. That was odd for me because I actually felt the front of the thigh try to engage as opposed to the hamstrings and the butt cheek. It's always interesting, a new thing every day. But this is the kind of awareness we start to get of our body and the way our muscles work when we do these somatic practices. So now I'm kindly telling my body as I speak to you, please turn on hamstrings and glutes as I lift up. So I want to feel that connection in the back body from the right shoulder to the left hip. And you can ask those buttocks muscles to squeeze on the inhale on the left cheek if you'd like, if you're having some butt confusion today, like I was. My butt was confusing itself for my front of my thigh. And then we'll work with just the leg now. So bring your awareness into your left leg. Lengthen from the toes to the hip. Lengthen first. Without bending the knee, think of lifting the whole leg up off the floor, reaching. Lift from the inner thigh. And exhale and come back down. So you want to try to keep that outer left hip on the floor. Lift the leg, lengthen on inhale. And exhale, come back down. So you should sense the muscles tightening through the hamstrings and the back of the thigh and the buttocks. Inhale, lift up. And exhale down. Make sure they relax on the exhalation. Do one more with just the leg. Exhale, relax. All right, now we'll put it all together. So let that cross from the right shoulder to the left hip. Let them communicate with one another. You're going to inhale, lift the elbow, the head, and the leg. And exhale, relax back down. So I'm very sensitive to the fact that if I don't pay attention, my right butt cheek is going to try to tighten right now. So I'm trying to say, it's okay, relax, because that's my side that tries to do all the work to stabilize my left side of the sacrum, which is a little bit destabilized. I've got some loose ligaments there. So I'm working that left side, getting the muscles to work. And one more time. So just this point that we can really direct our muscles to do what we need them to do. And take a moment, you can push back into your child's pose again if you'd like. Nice little counter pose for that. Resting and opening that space in the low back. If the child's pose does not work for you, maybe your knees are not happy, anything like that, I should have said this last time, you can come onto your back and hug your knees into your chest instead. Or you can even just roll to your side, because we're going there next time anyhow. You can roll to your side in a fetal curl and round your back. This is a nice way to go. Here's my bottom arm. Gently rocking myself. So the next one I do to extend through the front body, through the hip flexors, but also I like to bring some movement in through the waist. So this one encourages movement from the waist and synchronizing the upper body and lower body movement, or getting them to integrate. So you're gonna lay on, we'll lay on our right side first. And you can use your right arm as a pillow. If that doesn't work, you're welcome to pull in a bolster or blanket or something else like that. The bottom leg will be slightly extended just so you can keep the hip stacked. So what you don't want is let that hip fall forward or backward. Okay? I think I need to go this way a little bit. And then on the inhalation, first of all, I'm gonna lift my left leg up so my leg is in a straight line. My hip and my knee are at the same height as the ankle, so straight across. On the inhalation, I'm gonna point my toes, reach that leg behind me. So going through extension of the hip, reaching as far as I can comfortably. And I'm also gonna reach my arm up overhead. And then on exhalation, I'm gonna take my hand, really important, take my hand to my ribs. I'm gonna slide this foot forward, and I'm gonna drop myself and let myself just roll back towards that left shoulder and elbow. So at this point, I like to take my right arm out because my head just wants to roll. So when I'm ready to move through this one, I'm gonna inhale, feel extension through the front body. I can even take my gaze up towards that top hand. As I exhale, hand comes to the ribs, I drop my shoulder and my elbow and let my upper body roll to the left as my lower body rolls to the right. So think of the two halves of your body going in opposite directions. Inhaling and feeling the stretch through the front body. Exhale, they go in opposite directions, just falling to the floor. So that's the surrender. And you're initiating this movement from the waist. Feel it through your waist. Inhale, reach. Exhale, left foot forward, left elbow back behind you, and letting your head just roll. I could do this one all day. Reach. And just letting the two halves of the body go in opposite directions on the exhale. This might be another one where we'll take that last one, inhaling and extending. And then as you exhale, you can take your hand to your ribs, drop into it, and just hold. If this elbow's not touching the floor, you can put something underneath it. Just let your head roll. And notice where you feel this. Is it in the outer hip, the ribs? You might feel some stretching going on in the left shoulder. So for me, this goes right into the space around the sacrum. All right. You don't want to come out, but we will. You can slide back. If you want to just roll into that fetal curl, that might feel really nice for a moment. Rock it side to side. And then doing another posture to strengthen on our side body. So again, you can use your arm as a pillow or take a pillow underneath your head if you'd like. This time I want to draw my knees up to the height of my hips, and parallel my shins to the short edge of the mat. So it feels like I'm sitting in a chair. My legs are in a 90-degree angle. I'm going to press the big toe side of my feet together. And on inhalation, I'm going to lift just the top knee slightly. And exhale and take it down. So I want to feel these muscles on the outer hip. So I'm strengthening some of the outer hip muscles. Inhaling, lifting up. And exhaling down. Big toe side of the feet stay together. And then letting it come back down. And we're just experiencing the muscles engaging and then releasing. Yeah. And the release is just as important, especially for me on this left side. I want to make sure that I feel them engage and then that they release. I'll do one more on this side. And come down. So this is basically we're externally rotating our thigh. So we're going to do just the opposite in this next one. These two poses are like twins. You're going to keep the inner knees together. And then keeping the heels in line with one another, you're going to inhale and lift that top leg. So what you should feel is your thigh bone roll inward, or thigh will roll down towards the floor. And then exhale and take it down. And inhale and lift it. Roll that thigh bone in. And exhale and take it down. So your range of motion might be more or less. Don't force the range of motion. You're just looking to feel the muscles. Rotate the thigh in, or lift the foot if you'd like to look at it that way. And release it. There is a head portion to this if you'd like to add the upper body. You take your hand over the top of the head. My fingertips will be just above the ear. My elbow points up towards the sky as I inhale. I'm going to lift my head. My head is heavy in my hand. And then exhale and come back down. If this in any way aggravates your neck, you're not going to do it. Just work on the legs. Lift up, feel that so that your left side body will shorten. And exhale and come back down. Inhale up. I call these the clamshell and the mermaid tail. They go together quite well. Take yourself to the beach. We'll do one more. And I say that laughing and smiling, but remember that the other thing is I consider all of these movements, all of my somatic poses that I do, it's my body prayer. It's what allows me to do all the other things in life that I enjoy. So I'm going to roll up into that fetal curl before we switch sides. You're welcome to do the same, or you can roll on your back and hug your knees in, or you can go into a child's pose. We'll be switching sides. So you're going to come on to the left side of your body. Remember that if you liked having something underneath your head, you could use a pillow or a bolster. Otherwise, your arm can be there. The first one is when we're going to move from the waist. So I'm going to lengthen that bottom leg just where I don't feel tippy. So my right hip can stay right on top of my left. I'm not falling forward. I'm not falling back. And here comes the extension. So lift that leg up so the ankle is at the same height of the hip. As you inhale, it reaches, so even your ankle can be an extension, your knee, you're gonna reach that leg back and also reach the right hand overhead, stretch it all out. As you exhale, you're gonna bring your right hand, fingers about to the rib cage. Right foot's gonna come in front of you, and then you're gonna roll that right shoulder and elbow to the floor behind you. Feel it through the waist. At this point, I'll remove that bottom arm. Inhale, extension, reach the hand in one direction and the foot in the other. Exhale, hand to the rib cage. Just let the head roll as you drop your right elbow and shoulder. You might lose me on this one, it feels so good. Inhale, reaching in one direction. Really reach, stretch out that side body. Exhale, hand to the ribs and just drop with gravity. There's no force. Inhaling and reaching. So the effort is on the inhale. The exhale, we just let the leg fall down and the elbow fall. Let's do one more for good measure. Reach through the right side. Exhale, hand to the rib cage, swing that right leg forward. Drop the right elbow and shoulder blade. Don't force it down, let it fall. You can let your head roll towards your right shoulder. If the elbow's not touching the floor, you can support it with something. So for me, the first side, it all goes right into my low back and my hip. This one I tend to feel more in my right shoulder. So these are just things we begin to notice when we do these postures. But I sense the movement from my waist. I feel the gentle rotation in my waist, as if my hips are falling to the right side, my shoulders are falling to the left side. And slide that hand back when you're ready. Slide your leg back. Oh, you can sigh, make any noises you'd like. Okay, now I'm bringing my legs up back into the 90-degree angle for our clamshell mermaid tail. So knees are straight off the hips, so my shin bones are parallel to the short edge. I'm going to place my hand on my hip, keep the big toe side of the feet together for my mermaid tail. Inhale, lift the top leg, and exhale, relax it back down. Inhale, lifting, take your time. Exhale, relax. So this side I really have to be more mindful because my left leg, my bottom leg, will try to lift my top leg. So I have to say, no, relax. Right leg has to do the work, it's its turn. And that's just things we start to notice, that we often try to recruit the incorrect muscles. So I'm going to do one more on this side. And then relax it down. So that was externally rotating. Now I'm going to internally rotate the thigh. So I'm going to keep the knees together. And as I inhale, lift the top foot. And I'm tighter on this side. With a little less mobility. Feel it a lot more. I'm just noticing, taking my time. Exhale back down. Inhale, lifting, feeling that internal rotation. And exhale, relaxing down. So oftentimes for me, the second side, I focus on just the leg because that's a lot to focus on this side, as opposed to adding the head. If you'd like to add the head, you can wrap your hand around. Let your head be heavy, all 12 pounds. Point your elbow up. Fingers are just above the ear. And as I inhale, I'm lifting my head and my leg. And exhaling back down. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. And one more. Inhaling up. And exhaling back down. Relaxing completely. I just shift side to side. I can come into that fetal curl. The last posture we're going to do, we're going to come to a seated position. Use your hands to come up. Sometimes I do this one all on its own, but when I have the time, I much prefer to do this whole practice, and I can tell the difference when I do the whole practice and then do this. But this one is specific towards sacral stability. So I'm going to mirror you. You're going to take your legs out towards that right hip, and you're going to bring your left heel to your front right knee. If for any reason this seated position does not work for you, there is a chair modification. It's not in this video, but you might need to just skip this part and go straight to shavasana. However, if it works, heel to the knee. Think of a cat-cow pose, so the movement of the spine through flexion and extension. As you exhale, you're going to draw your chin towards your chest, your elbows forward, tilt your pelvis back so you feel a rounding through the back, and then a contraction through the front side. As you inhale, draw your elbows back, heart high, so space through the front body, contraction through the back body, and exhale, come forward. So feel the whole spine fluidly move from the pelvis all the way up through the neck, and exhale down. Feel the space in the back body and exhale, space in the front body on inhale. You can even turn your corners of your mouth into a smile. Do one more. Settle where you feel like you're centered, so ears over the shoulders and shoulders over your hips. You're just going to drop your right hand to your side. Take your left arm up and place the hand, sort of like we did when we were on our side body, hand so that your fingers are right above the ear. As you inhale, gently draw the left ear to the left shoulder. Keep that right arm and hand heavy, and exhale, lift back up. So feel the space on inhalation through the right side of the neck and the top of the shoulder, and come back. In the meantime, I'm trying to just let my sit bones ground and my thighs fall into the floor. There's no forcing. My pelvis, I imagine that my sacrum, my pelvis, is feeling the movement of my neck. One more on this side. And then we're going to switch sides. You're going to take your left hand down, take your right hand up. Stay up tall, crown of the head towards the sky. Inhale, ear to the shoulder. And exhale back. Feel the left side of the neck opening up this time. Keeping the shoulder heavy. So we remember that the sacrum is the bone that's responsible for transferring all the weight from the upper body into the lower limbs. So keeping this neck moving fluidly and just sensing that, your whole central nervous system runs through your spine. So sensing from the neck down to the sacrum. Last one. And then relaxing. Now I'm going to take my right hand to my right shoulder, lift the elbow up to the height of the shoulder. Slide that left hand out just a bit. So this time when I inhale, I'm going to lift my butt cheek off the floor. I'm going to feel my thigh rotate inward. We did that earlier, right? That right thigh rotate inward and reach my right elbow forward. And then exhale and sit back down. So inhale, lift and reach. Feel those muscles engage through my right butt cheek, my thigh. Exhale, release them. I'll feel lengthening through my right side body as I reach. Inhale, reach and lift. Let my head just go along for the ride. So it's just following the course of action of the rest of the spine. Last one. All right, and with this one, I can take both hands to the floor and I can stay on my hands for a few breaths. I like to come down to my forearms just to be still in this pose for a moment. If it's comfortable, you can go even lower, head to the floor, maybe head to your arms. Sense the right side of the body all the way down and through the low back and around the sacrum. Release the weight of the thighs into the floor. And when you're ready to come up, find your forearms first or your hands. Come up slowly. Lock yourself up with the strength of the arms. We'll be switching sides. You can take your legs out in front of you. Shake them out a little bit. All right. And then we'll switch. So I'm going to take both feet. You're going to take both feet out by your left hip. And you can take the back foot. You can be on the big toe side if it's comfortable. Otherwise, top of the foot. And then take your right heel to the front of your left knee. So this side is my awkward, tighter side. So it takes me a moment. I usually just sit. I just let myself sit and sink in. If that doesn't happen, then this posture is not for you. If you're fighting your body from the floor, then come out. But if you can let yourself settle, I just have to let myself settle, although less so since we did the practice beforehand. If I do just this on its own, I can tell. And then we'll do that cat-cow movement. So as you exhale, elbows forward, chin forward, pelvis tilts back. Inhale, hands or elbows back, heart forward, lift your chin. Exhale back. So feel the fluid movement of your whole spine, arching and curling. So we find the arch on the inhalation and the curl on the exhale. Meanwhile, trying to allow that left thigh to relax. Last one. And then settle when it feels like your ears, shoulders, ribs, and hips are in a line. You're going to drop your left hand to the floor, let that shoulder be heavy. Pick up your right hand, wrap your fingers by your ear. Inhale, right ear to the right shoulder, and exhale back up. And remember, what you say to yourself is important. I call this my body prayer. I say thank you to all these parts of my body as I feel them. Sometimes I ask them what's happening, what's going on, and opening up that side of the neck, left side, last one. All right. And then release. We're just going to switch out the hands. So right hand to the floor, left hand comes up, fingertips are just above the ear. Inhale without forcing, just gently bring the left ear to the left shoulder and exhale back up. Inhale, left left ear to left shoulder. And back. Feel that space through the side of the neck, top of the right shoulder. My voice gets softer and softer as I do this because I get more and more relaxed. All right, and then release the head. You'll take your left hand to your shoulder. If it's available, lift the elbow up to the height of the shoulder. You're going to be lifting and rotating this thigh inward. So take your right hand to the floor as you inhale, reach the elbow over the right knee, lift up, feel the muscles in the buttock squeeze, and exhale back down. So this side doesn't always automatically happen for me. I have to ask those muscles to turn on and lift, and then release as I come back down. And I'm just letting my gaze follow along. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Taking your time. Exhale, release down. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, release down. Last one. Inhale, lift, feel that thigh bone roll inward. Drop both hands to the floor. You can stay up on your hands if you'd like. Come down to forearms if it's available. You can come down to forearms all the way down. And just feel the length through the left side body. Let the hips release into the floor. Even be sensitive to things like the big toe side of the left foot and the little toe side of the right foot. What does that feel like? Onto your forearms first, and then your hands. And that pose is always a nice lead-in to go into Shavasana. So before we do, you're going to come down onto your back. I highly encourage you to take a Shavasana. We're just going to come onto our back and sort of march in place. So take yourself down, and as you inhale, just lift one leg to about that 90 degrees, and exhale and take it down. And then the other leg. Inhale, lift, find 90 degrees. And exhale, release. Just sort of a release, and think of moving from the space around your sacrum. Lifting one leg at a time. Last one. Marching in place. And so we're using those lower abdominal muscles. That's encouraging our low back to relax, which we want during our Shavasana. My favorite position for Shavasana when I've been working on my sacrum is to widen my heels to the edge of the mat, turn my big toes in, and let my knees fall together. So this is something you do. Your feet might be closer together or further apart, but it makes a little more space in the low back. And then I'm going to take what's called Trimurti Mudra. I'm going to bring the tips of the thumbs together and the tips of the index fingers, and then the rest of the fingers come together. So I'm making the shape of a triangle with my hands, which is symbolic of the sacrum itself, right? The same shape as the sacrum. And I'm just going to set the thumbs right in the navel center, and my fingers point downward. And I visualize that as I'm breathing in Shavasana, all of my energy, all of my awareness is going into that space in and around my hands, and ultimately to the sacrum itself and the backside. So we're chronically breathing into the sacrum. And you can stay here for as long as you'd like. Use just a gentle, spontaneous breath. Think of every exhalation releasing everything in the backside deeper into the earth. You might feel that gentle movement in your belly, that rhythmic up and down. Stay present in this sacred space of the sacrum.